After my husband lost his memory, he became convinced I was a sugar mommy who'd forced him into this relationship. He huddled in the corner, tears of defiance streaming down his face. "You might own my body, but you'll never have my heart," he sneered. "Think you've won? You're using me as a replacement just like you're the stand-in for my true love." Holy plot twist, we'd apparently stumbled into some twisted doppelganger romance. John had developed these delusions after his car accident caused head trauma. The doctors warned he might experience memory loss or fabricate false memories, advising me to play along with his fantasies while combining behavioral therapy with medication. Back in his hospital room, John sat folded into himself like a frightened origami crane in his blue striped gown. The door's creak made him flinch. His pale face lifted, a single tear tracing his jawline. Before I could comfort him, he bit his quivering lip and accused, "Sophia, when will you stop tormenting me? First off, I'm not Sophia. Even if you chain me to this bed, my heart remains free," he continued dramatically. "I escaped you once. I'll do it again. Go ahead, have your goons crash my car. I'd rather die than be your puppet." I shot panicked looks at the doctors, mouthing I didn't arrange any car crashes. The physician adjusted his glasses after examining John. He seems to be conflating recent media consumption with reality. Humor him for now, confrontation could worsen the dissociation. "You want me to role-play this nonsense?" At the doctor's nod, I approached John's bed with conflicted emotions, channeling every soap opera villainess I'd ever seen. I gripped his chin roughly. "Try running again," I growled, "and I'll break both your legs myself." Trembling with impotent rage, John glared through his tears, the picture of a wronged romance novel heroine. Part of me wanted to laugh at the absurdity. Who could have imagined the ruthless CEO who once made interns cry now fancied himself a persecuted trophy husband? During the car ride home, John stared mournfully at passing scenery like a wilting lily. When I tried comforting him by covering his hand, he jerked away suspiciously. "Can't even wait until bedtime? You want to defile me in this moving coffin now?" Up front, our driver Old Wong stiffened so abruptly I heard his vertebrae crack. The privacy partition shot up faster than a Broadway curtain. I massaged my temples as John stormed into our mansion. Trailing him upstairs, I offered his favorite silk pajamas. "Let's get you cleaned up. Then maybe some soup?" He eyed the sleepwear like I'd handed him poisoned robes. The tragic resignation in his eyes suggested he expected me to burst into maniacal laughter and rip his clothes off any second. God help me if this was only day one. I'd never survive till his memory returned. My cheeks already hurt from suppressed laughter. How does anyone keep a straight face during this ridiculous telenovela? At this rate, I might need acting lessons more than he needs neurology consults. My body stiffened as I clutched my chest tightly, fresh tears welling in my eyes. "Sophia, are you even human? I just survived a car crash and you're still thinking about that. Am I really so worthless that you'd keep humiliating me?" Having mentally prepared myself during the car ride earlier, I'd made some progress. Laughing, I pushed him toward the bathroom. "Exactly. If you don't shower right now, I'll take you right here." John's eyes brimmed with resentment, but under my domineering gaze, he snatched his pajamas and slammed the bathroom door. While he showered, I called Emily's secretary. With John temporarily out of commission, all company matters would need my approval. The car accident required investigation too. How could the brakes fail on a vehicle inspected 2 weeks ago? As I finished delegating tasks, John emerged wearing loosely tied pajamas, water droplets falling from his damp hair. After visible internal struggle, he bit his lip and approached me. "I want to see my sister." My eyes lit up. Was his memory improving? Before I could respond, he choked out, "You've been threatening Emmy's safety to control me. She's just a middle schooler. Let me confirm she's unharmed, and then you can have your way with me." I twitched. Damn. He'd regressed 10 years mentally. When I didn't immediately agree, he suddenly dropped to his knees with a loud thud. John! I rushed to help him up, rolling up his pant legs to check for injuries. He looked up with tearful Bambi eyes, like a persecuted heroine in some Victorian novel. If you won't let me see Emmy, I'll smash my head against this wall right now. All right. All right. I quickly dialed Emily. Come to the Bayview residence. Your brother misses you. On the other end, Emily pulled the phone away from her ear to confirm the caller ID. Sophia? Did John commit tax fraud or something? Just hurry over. I sighed. When Emily arrived breathless from the lab, John stared in confusion. Since when do school cafeterias serve growth hormones? I stifled laughter while explaining his amnesia. So my brother thinks you're blackmailing him into some forced relationship? Emily gaped. As I nodded, John suddenly embraced her, weeping uncontrollably. The man who'd always reduced me to tears pre-amnesia now sobbed like a heartbroken teenager. Emmy, are you okay? Has she hurt you? John examined his sister anxiously. Taking my cue, Emily shook her head dumbly. Don't think this changes anything. Sophia. John sniffed, turning away with red-rimmed eyes. I'm only tolerating this imprisonment because you're holding Emmy hostage. I elbowed Emily. Your cue. Rubbing her forehead. Emily deadpanned. Loud and clear. Nothing like some light kidnapping role play to spice up married life. After dinner, Emily returned to her lab's critical project. Later, while toweling my hair by the bed, John stood frozen in the doorway, freshly showered and radiating nervous energy. The tension between us crackled like live wires. John trembled nervously, burrowing under the blankets until only his eyes remained visible like some timid first love awaiting her fate. The mental comparison made me snort with suppressed laughter. Though weakened by illness, he'd suddenly gained this vivid charm that captivated me. As usual, I tried slipping into his embrace beneath the covers. He bolted upright like startled prey, clutching his pajama collar with crimson cheeks. We're starting already? He stammered. I maintained intense eye contact, watching his throat bob nervously until even his neck flushed scarlet. Finally taking mercy, I chuckled and settled beside him. Sleep now. I won't lay a finger on you tonight. He blinked owlishly before collapsing back onto the pillows, resembling a bewildered golden retriever puppy. Adorable. Come Saturday. I dismissed the staff and took John to our family's mountain resort. Steam rose from the natural hot springs as I soaked luxuriously. Noticing his absence, I turned to find him fidgeting with his robes belt by the pool's edge. Emerging from the water, I grinned at his scandalized gasp. With one tug, his robe joined the pile on the stone tiles as I dragged him splashing into the thermal pool. And no! Not here, we can't. His feeble protests sounded straight from some trashy romance novel. I straddled his waist, droplets sliding down my swimsuit. You promised yourself to me after meeting Emily. I reminded, nipping at his jaw. Tears welled in his doe eyes. I know, I'm just your plaything. Good boy. I purred before claiming his mouth. His clumsy response to the kiss only heightened my hunger. This amnesiac version of John kissed like an inexperienced teenager. All trembling lips and hitched breaths. Delicious. When we finally broke apart, I whispered against his swollen lips, let's continue upstairs. He lay against the mossy rocks like deflowered Victorian maiden, whimpering about lost virtue. Back in our suite, I thoroughly ravaged my captive until sunset painted the room amber. John lay sprawled across silk sheets, skin glowing pink and eyes glazed, the perfect picture of debauchery. Feeling unusually charitable, I toweled him off and dressed his pliant body. His reproachful pout almost ruined my composure. You torment me, then show kindness. What am I to you? At dinner, I smirked over my wine glass. My cherished plaything. Obviously. His wounded expression made me cackle. I almost pitied him, the mortification awaiting if he ever regained memories of this trip. The universe answered my mirth with cosmic irony. Emerging from the restroom, I collided with my past Ryan, my ex-fiancé who jilted me 2 years prior to chase true love abroad. His eyes lit up with recognition and what might have been regret. We exchanged stiff pleasantries before I excused myself. Let him choke on his what-ifs. I had far more entertaining company waiting. After all, it's all in the past. In the heavy silence, I bid him farewell, but he stopped me with a strained voice. Does he treat you well? Who? The man you married. Remembering John from earlier, I smiled. Of course. His lips tightened, eyes clouded with sorrow. Grace. About what happened back then, I'm sorry. Can you ever forgive me? I chuckled without answering. Ryan had confessed his feelings during high school graduation. We journeyed from campus sweethearts to discussing marriage. Yet on our engagement day, he'd humiliated me before all our relatives and friends, declaring his love for someone else before fleeing. That day remained the most humiliating of my life. My parents dissolved the engagement due to business ties between our families, but took no further action. He'd wounded me deeply yet faced no consequences, while I became bargaining chip for new marital alliances. Forgiveness? Though the sting had faded, the scars remained real. How could there be absolution? Glancing at my watch, I said coolly, "Excuse me. My husband's waiting. We'll talk another time." He grabbed my wrist urgently. Grace. I broke up with Sophia. After being with her, I realized you're the one I truly love. Let's start over, the penthouse. Stocks. Whatever you want. The fragile civility shattered. I peeled his fingers off one by one, icy resolve hardening my voice. Ryan. Even stray dogs know not to return to vomit. Keep harassing me, and I'll happily send those modeling agency bed photos to your competitors. He recoiled, wounded puppy eyes widening. Grace, you've changed. The theatrics turned my stomach. After steadying my breathing, I texted my assistant to investigate Ryan. In this world of self-interest, that sentimental fool's sudden resurgence reeked of ulterior motives. Returning to the dining table, I'd already forgotten the encounter as I attacked my steak. John seemed unusually subdued. Had I teased him too mercilessly this afternoon? Sliding into the seat beside him, I laced our fingers together with honeyed concern. What's wrong, darling? Tell me everything. He shot me a red-rimmed glare. I'm not your darling. I know the truth now, just some replacement. Baffled, I soothed. Don't be absurd. You're my one and only. He sprang up dramatically, tears spilling as trembling hands framed his face. Liar! I saw you two by the restrooms. You only keep me captive because I resemble him. I'm just your lust-filled substitute. Nearby servers perked up. I hastily dismissed the staff. John glared through his misery. I nearly laughed. What resemblance? Their only commonality was being male. Reaching for him, I coaxed. Let's discuss this rationally. He jerked away, bitter triumph flashing. You think you've won? While using me as replacement. Little do you know you're also someone else's stand-in. Even owning me changes nothing, we're both losers. My smile froze. The cruel truth? Before his amnesia, John had indeed loved another. 2 years ago, Ryan broke off our engagement. Though my parents were displeased, they had no choice but to continue arranging marriages for me. That's when John entered the picture, a rising star in tech. An undeniable presence in high society. The very image of a golden boy. He approached me first, offering to invest capital in my company if I married him. He'd somehow discovered I'd secretly started my own business behind my family's back. It seemed too good to be true. I investigated him thoroughly, but his records were spotless. After a night's consideration, I decided, since this would be an arranged marriage anyway, why not pick someone useful? Post-wedding, John treated me exceptionally well, thoughtful and caring, attentive to every detail. With his financial backing, my company flourished. He kept pouring money into it as if competing in some invisible generosity contest. Maybe it was the way he casually signed those checks, or how he shielded me from my parents' criticisms without hesitation. Or perhaps it was the birthday bouquets that never missed a date. The way he'd tear up watching dramas with me. His morning ritual of kissing my forehead before work. Falling into his tender embrace felt inevitable. Then 2 weeks ago, an anonymous video arrived. In it, someone asked John, "Do you still love the person you adored in college?" All eyes turned to the tech prodigy. Hungry for gossip, John paused, his finger tapping against the table. Lips curling. Yes. Another voice fawned, "With your power now, any woman would be yours for the taking." John's sharp glance silenced the room, steering conversation elsewhere. I should have expected this. Even I had a first love, why wouldn't someone like him harbor some lingering affection? Everyone has baggage. Logically, I understood. Yet my chest tightened. When he returned, should I confront him? Ask why he married me if his heart belonged elsewhere? But what would change? Ours was a business union. How many arranged couples actually love each other? I resolved to end the mental turmoil and address it directly, only for John to abruptly leave on a business trip. He came back, like this. Amnesiac. Now, hearing the one I love from his lips, my chopsticks creak under my grip. I'm not angry. Not at all. Who doesn't have history? Just curious about this mystery woman. Really. Setting down my utensils, I smile through clenched teeth. Am I her replacement? Who could possibly outshine me? His smirk turns smug. You're attractive. But she's in another league. Prove it. I challenge. Show me her photo. A guarded pause. I won't tell you. You'll use it to hurt her. Splendid. Even without memories, he protects his precious sweetheart. Hoards her pictures. So I was never more than a contractual spouse. The thought stings. If he treated me, a business partner, with such devotion, what lavish affection would he shower upon someone he truly loved? Staring at the lavish spread, I suddenly lost my appetite. The urge to draft divorce papers right then overwhelmed me. Maybe I should just set him free to be with his true love. We skipped the hot springs trip and drove home in silence. When we entered the bedroom, John was still eyeing me warily. His expression shifted to faint disappointment as I mechanically brushed my teeth and collapsed into bed without a word. He lingered awkwardly before finally slipping under the covers on his side, maintaining as much distance as the king-sized mattress allowed. Hypocrite. This was the same man who'd practically grafted himself to my skin before the accident. I fell asleep grinding my teeth, only to subconsciously roll over and pull his shaking form against me when I heard muffled sobs. Instinctively patting his back like I'd done countless times before. Work piled up alarmingly during our leave. Managing both our responsibilities meant practically living in John's corner office. As I signed the last document before closing time, his assistant casually mentioned, "The florist called again about Mr. Wilson's daily bouquet. Should we cancel the standing order? He personally picks them up every evening?" I frowned. Always. The assistant confirmed. Mr. Wilson insists selecting them himself shows sincerity. Text me the address. I sighed. The kindly florist bundled all the missed arrangements into fresh bouquets, their combined volume overflowing my back seat. I was wrestling armfuls of blooms toward the front door when it flew open. "Let me help," I began. But John already cradled the flowers like precious artifacts. Eyes suspiciously shiny. "You bought these for me?" Before I could explain, he choked out. "Why are you so good to me? After how I treated you yesterday." His Adam's apple bobbed. Sophia, what spell have you cast? All evening, he kept stealing conflicted glances my way. Too exhausted from playing CEO and still nursing hurt feelings. I pretended not to notice. His shoulders slumped when I finally retreated to the home office without acknowledging him. Next afternoon, I barely parked before John burst through the garage door wearing a ridiculous pink unicorn apron. "Welcome home," he murmured, taking my briefcase and slipping off my heels with practiced ease. "Dinner's ready." The familiar scent of garlic butter shrimp, my comfort food, gave me pause. "Did you remember?" His ears pinkened. "I've decided." He interrupted, avoiding eye contact. "I'll stop resisting this arrangement." Translation, still convinced I'm holding him hostage. I massaged my temples while he continued his diluted monologue between bites of salad. "First, you must promise Emmy's safety. Second, I refuse to be the other man. If you ever marry." "What changed your mind?" I blurted. "Not pining for your precious first love anymore?" The serving spoon clattered against the salad bowl. John's blush crept down his neck as he muttered. Certain memories resurfaced. "I've already been with you and lost my purity. If I don't compromise and stay with you, who else would want me? A ruined woman like me doesn't deserve her." How heart-wrenching. I spat out the water I'd just sipped, laughing in disbelief. It was good that he valued his principles. But why did his words grate on me so? Wiping my mouth, I sneered, deliberately provoking him. "Then what? You're already the other woman." He looked up blankly. "What?" With malicious glee, I pulled out the marriage certificate and waved it before him. "Oops. Forgot to mention, I'm already married." John looked as if he'd been struck by lightning, disbelief flooding his eyes. I shoved the certificate toward him. "Don't believe me? Open it. Check the name while you're at it." His face turned ashen as he stared at the crimson booklet. Closing his eyes in despair, he muttered, "No need, no need," before trudging upstairs like a broken man, worried my words had pushed him too far. I followed. He entered the master bedroom, gathered his pillows and blankets, then moved them to the smallest, most remote room in the mansion. "What are you doing?" I blocked his path. His voice trembled with theatrical misery. "A homewrecker like me shouldn't occupy the master suite." He dabbed imaginary tears, shrinking into himself. "Come to my room for our liaisons. It's discreet here." Rubbing my temples, I deadpanned. "How considerate. Survival instincts." He sniffled, pushing me out. "If your husband finds us, I'm dead. Just knock when you need me." His meek demeanor resembled a Victorian-era mistress, equal parts absurd and hilarious. After showering, I resolved to take him for a psychiatric evaluation tomorrow. His delusions showed no improvement. Booking the appointment, I approached his closet-sized room to inform him only to hear muffled sobs. "Pathetic. John. How could you develop feelings? Just because she took your virginity and sent flowers? Weak. You're falling for your captor. Becoming her mistress. You've betrayed everything, you'll never deserve your true love now." The guilt hit like a gut punch. I'd corrupted an innocent soul. Retreating silently, I decided to break the news in the morning. At dawn, my doorbell rang. My parents stood there, unwelcome specters. I barred entry. "Why are you here?" Father frowned. "Is this any way to greet us? You never visit. Can't we check on our daughter?" I knew better. My entire life, they'd prioritized my brother. I existed to broker alliances. Their sudden concern reeked of hidden agendas. The two of them shoved past me and marched upstairs. Sensing something wrong, I rushed to intercept them. My mother gripped my wrist with faux concern. "You foolish girl. Why keep secrets from us?" Seeing my confusion, She pressed. John had a car accident and became brain damaged. Didn't he? How dare you hide such important news? John's amnesia was supposed to be confidential. My expression hardened. I don't know what you're talking about. John left early this morning. My father barged into the master bedroom, rifling through drawers. When he found nothing, he moved to other rooms. My mother blocked my path. Listen, if he's truly impaired, ditch that useless man. Remarry someone better while you're still young. Realization struck, they'd resented John since our wedding when I refused to pressure him for business favors. Shoving her aside, I confronted my father. This is my house. Get out! His palm swung toward my face as my mother joined the assault. Suddenly, an arm yanked me backward, directly toward the staircase. John, my protector, tumbled down the steps. The impact left him comatose. My parents intensified their divorce demands until I blocked their numbers. At the hospital, I transformed John's room into my office. When the door opened, I began, "Doctor, it's been 2 days." Ryan stood there holding a pastry box. "Working here must be exhausting. I don't need your pity." "Then what? This vegetable?" He gestured at John's bed. "Explain yourself." He oozed counterfeit sincerity. "I never stopped loving you." When I heard he's bedridden, my twin slaps echoed through the room. Delicate skin for such shameless lies. Ryan lunged. "Grace! Who do you think?" Bodyguards intercepted him. "Tell my parents their cash cows retired," I ordered as they dragged him out. That night, my assistant's report exposed Ryan's scheme. After gathering evidence, I visited John's office to retrieve his corporate seal. Though I'd never breached his safe before, a familiar gift bag inside caught my eye, something I'd lost years ago. My breath hitched. Since they're supposed to be my belongings, taking a look shouldn't hurt, right? Just one glance. Then I froze. Every item in that bag felt hauntingly familiar: an ugly, cute ceramic rabbit, discarded empty gel pens, lost test papers, a black hair clip, a photo of a ponytailed girl's back, and my high school ID photo from the academic honor roll. My breathing quickened as realization dawned. I suddenly remembered our wedding day when he'd said during his vows, "I've loved my wife for so long and waited ages for this moment." Back then, I'd scoffed internally about the cheesy scriptwriter, thinking we'd only met recently at that charity gala. Now everything clicked. Slamming the safe shut, I sprinted from the office building. Memories flooded me. "Do you still love the person you liked in school?" "Always." "Mr. Wilson insists on personally selecting gifts to show sincerity." Him throwing himself down the stairs to shield me, touching his hospital bed rail. I whispered, "I finally understand who your true love is." John lay motionless, his recent head injury from the car crash proving more severe than the previous staircase fall. Doctors couldn't predict his awakening timeline. I filed police reports, submitting security footage of John's fall. My father got arrested for assault while my mother and brother's theatrical protests got stopped by security. As for Ryan, the smoking gun evidence remained elusive, but I leaked rumors online about the foster heir hiring hitmen. Let their panic reveal what my investigators couldn't find. On the day of assembling final evidence, I was rambling stories to John's unconscious form while sponge bathing him. My mother only smiled at me when I socialized with people like Ryan. I never understood, shouldn't parental love be unconditional? That ceramic rabbit? I made it after she threw mine away, telling me to focus on networking. Gave it to this crying boy under an oak tree. My hands trembled as I whispered, "Guess what? That boy became my husband 10 years later." A hoarse voice interrupted. Quite the coincidence. I looked up to see John weakly smiling, his thumb wiping my tears. "Grace, who made you cry?" Clutching his hand between laughter and tears, I choked out, "Get better so I can punch you properly." His eyes crinkled with familiar warmth. Anytime. John regained consciousness. His memories fully restored. When I asked if he remembered what happened during his amnesiac period, he remained silent though his ears flushed crimson. After his medical evaluation and my relentless questioning, we discovered that 2 days before the accident, John had been reading dark and obsessive love stories from my browser history featuring characters like Sophia, the classic delicate, easily conquered romance novel heroine. Through his scrambled memories, the vulnerable protagonist became amnesiac John himself while the female lead's name got superimposed onto me. The absurdity left us both torn between laughter and exasperation. Meanwhile, Ryan had been arrested. All evidence pointed to him orchestrating the car sabotage that caused John's accident. The Foster family's business operated in the same industry as the Wilsons. Yet John's overwhelming success constantly overshadowed them, snatching lucrative contracts from their grasp. Upon learning of my marriage to John, the Fosters urgently recalled Ryan from his overseas escapades. Their scheme involved covertly engineering accidents for John while pressuring my parents to force a divorce, aiming to seize Wilson assets through marital redistribution. They forgot one crucial detail: people evolve. I was no longer the powerless trophy wife they could manipulate. That night in Emerald Bay's master bedroom, I straddled John's waist and tilted his chin up teasingly. Even if I have your body, I can't have your heart. Scarlet crept past his collar as he murmured, "Both body and heart belong to you." I nodded approval before pressing. "Between me and your beloved, who's more beautiful?" Covering his eyes with a chuckle, he sighed. "Grace is the most beautiful." I fought to suppress my smile. Before I could continue interrogating, he flipped us over, fingers grazing my cheekbone. "Officer, have mercy. Can we adjourn this trial until tomorrow? My wife awaits her kisses." "Who wants your kisses?" I swatted his chest indignantly. His lips found mine mid-protest. "Very well. It's I who desperately needs to give her kisses." John's side story. The year Emily was born, their father died from falling construction rebar. Their mother dragged toddler John through construction sites with infant Emily strapped to her back, screaming until the contractors paid minimal compensation. Poverty gnawed at them, but his mother's resilience became his compass. After school, John helped at her noodle cart. Elementary classmates meant no harm, but middle school unveiled cruelty: snickers at his cracked shoes and patched elbows. Academics became his armor. Top scores briefly outshined threadbare clothes during award ceremonies. At 15, his mother died. Why did misfortune stalk them? They'd fought so hard, sewing their savings into Emily's clothes. He bought her one last meal before heading to the bridge. He waited until twilight, legs numb from crouching. As he rose, a girl pressed a gift box into his hands. "Don't cry," she said before disappearing. Only then did he realize tears streaked his face. Their second meeting came during freshman orientation. Before uniforms arrived, his patched jeans drew mockery. "Who still wears rags these days?" Classmates sneered. Then he saw her, the bridge girl, now walking toward him with textbooks clutched to her chest. A teenager's pride is strong, yet it's the most fragile and vulnerable thing. Wow. John clenched his fists, still processing how to respond when a girl's gasp sounded by his ear. He turned to see a ponytailed girl and her friend marveling at his pants. Distressed patchwork jeans are totally this year's trend. "Don't you know?" The girl pulled a magazine from her backpack, flipping to a dog-eared page with sparkling eyes. "See? These are exactly what Lin Yinxing wore at his fan meet and greet last month. Super trendy. Okay?" The crowd gradually drifted toward her desk, leaving John standing frozen in the hallway. John had never heard of Lin Yinxing, yet his chest tightened inexplicably as the unfamiliar name echoed in his mind like a half-remembered melody.